and treatment of detainees and staff in a captivity environment. To your knowledge, were aggressive interrogation techniques demonstrated at this briefing? Also, to what extent were you aware of the potential for the information of the JPRA briefing to be used as a model for the types of interrogation techniques recommended in the GTMO SEER interrogation SOP?
Senator, I know that the interrogation techniques were brief. They talked about exploitation. I'm pretty sure, I don't know for a fact, but I know that they talked about how you oversee when you have folks in detention. I mean, whether you're in training or in another venue, we have to be very careful how we handle our students, how they're moved, how they're detained, how they're restrained, if restraint is deemed necessary as part of the training. And some of these things that you find in a training environment are certainly issues that would have to be dealt with in an offensive detention environment. As far as actual techniques being demonstrated, I have no knowledge of that. I know they were going to get briefed, and I hope that answers your question.
Mr. Ogrisseg, one of my deepest concerns in reviewing the material available prior to this hearing was what appears to me to be the deliberate decision by this administration to use the techniques developed to assist our armed forces members to survive forms of mistreatment and torture perpetuated by enemy combatants who do not adhere to the Geneva Convention to develop our nation's own standard operating procedures with regards to treatment of detainees. Yet, it is not even clear what the use of aggressive interrogation techniques is the most effective method of gathering information. My question, Doctor, is how effective is the resistance training given our own military members, and isn't it likely that enemy combatants have been given similar resistance training, making these methods less viable than other options, such as rapport building?
Senator, I can certainly answer that question with regards to how effective our training is, because we've studied it. One of the purposes of my job is to do program evaluations of this type of training to ensure that our students come through feeling confident that they're able to handle these situations, and therefore we use some of the techniques that we do to actually enhance their confidence. Much like a lot of other fields that want people to make decisions in very difficult spots, we put them into circumstances that model what people have experienced in the past. Firefighters use physical pressures. They teach people skills, and then they put them in burning buildings, so that during training they develop those learned skills and make them less vulnerable to being degraded by stress. In our training, we both approximate some of the things that have been done to people in the past, but we also ensure that they're structured in a way that the students can succeed, and we have surveyed how confident they are when they go through these experiences untrained versus how confident they are afterwards, and they're significantly greater. We know that they definitely take in the skill sets because we have ways of assessing which skill sets that they're applying. So I'm very confident that we know our students are getting what they need from training.
Colonel, in your advanced testimony, you note that while you were aware of many things involving the JPRA, you were not privy to everything. You also note that JPRA directors had the authority and ability to go directly to the commander and deputy commander as well. My question to you, Colonel, is why would decisions have been made without the input of the Chief of Staff's input or knowledge?
Senator, the chief of staff in a military organization is not like a chief of staff for, say, a political organization. You're not the gatekeeper for everything. Staff director is probably a better, managing the formats, managing staff packages, being the chief staff officer for the commander, making sure things are done correctly and making sure the directors play well with each other in the day-to-day conduct of your business is probably even more accurate. So the directors, each director has the ability to go to the commander without going through the chief of staff, if they so choose. And the commander will sometimes reach out, for especially sensitive issues like personnel issues or things of that nature, and go directly to the director and not use the chief of staff because of the sensitivity of the issue. So there are things that, usually everything goes right through the office, not always, but there is a tremendous volume of things that went through the office.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Akaka. Senator Bill Nelson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Ogrisseg, I want to follow up. In your training, you spoke about waterboarding. Do you also use sleep deprivation in your training?
Senator, in Air Force training, we've never used waterboarding. Never. In my statement, I was talking about the training that was done at the Navy School in San Diego. So we've never done it and would never do it. For the reasons that I outlined there, that it's detrimental to a stress inoculation approach to this training. We want them to come through more resistant to stress. We do, however, use some sleep deprivation within the training. Our students get tired and fatigued because in real situations in the past, historically, they've been interrogated while they are tired and fatigued.
Well, I want to get to your testimony. With regard to waterboarding and training, in your testimony, and I quote you, I told him, Lieutenant Colonel Baumgartner, that I'd seen waterboarding used while observing Navy training during the previous year.
Yes,
and I would never recommend it being used in training.
Yes, sir.
End of quote. So you've seen it, and you further say the waterboard produced capitulation and compliance with instructor demands 100% of the time. And you finish up by saying that the waterboard expressed extreme avoidance attitudes such as the likelihood to further comply with any demands made of them if brought near the waterboard again. So why don't you give us some further observations about that?
Well, Senator, when I observed the Navy training, I not only watched when folks were being put on the waterboard, but also went to observe when they were being debriefed following training. And I'm not exactly sure how many, but with 3 or 4 of the students that I saw that experienced the waterboard, I heard their comments about that pressure. And the gist of the comments is, as I stated there, if they had brought me near that thing again, I would have complied with anything that they told me to do and done anything to avoid it.
And it's to prepare our troops for captivity. Now, the chairman in his opening comments said that this technique is limited to 20 seconds. And our Navy students, primarily SEALs, they would know that they were not going to be killed in this operation, that it was a training exercise. So it's to prepare them for it. So your observations of that are that at the end of the day, whatever the captor wants the captee to do as a result of waterboarding, the captee is going to do. Is that your observation?
What my observation was that certainly they would comply with what was wanted. As far as the information that they gave, I have no way of knowing, whether or not that was true or not.
Well, you